Hi, and welcome to a new episode of the Luxembourg PE&VC Stories. Today's guests will be Christian Schnabel and also Lukas Eckhardt, both board members of Golding Capital Partners Luxembourg. Welcome, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
A real pleasure. So, what can you tell us about Golding Capital Partners and when did that whole adventure start?
Well, this is the elevator pitch question. So, Golding was founded back in 1999 by an Englishman in Germany, in Munich. So the Englishman is Jeremy Golding, and he came to Germany in order to bring private equity to the German retail market. And this was kind of the beginning of the story and the beginning of an exciting, now almost 25-year long, nice and exciting journey. So Jeremy Golding is still the tour guide on this journey. The company developed into different directions in the last 25 years. We are now managing 14 billion in assets, committed by 250 institutional investors, and we have a broad shelf of private market products we offer to the market. Looking a little bit at the value chain, we are covering the full value chain from front to back, so fundraising, investment sourcing, and also fund administration, and with our full-blown AIFM here in Luxembourg on the ground.
Okay, that's a great overview. And what could you tell us a little bit about your core investments and verticals?
When we look at actually where Golding started 20 years ago, Golding started with one fund of fund. The company transformed itself into a full-blown platform for private market investments, for a European leader in terms of private equity, private debt, infrastructure, and impact investing, and this through different exit routes, entrance routes. That is fund-of-fund investing, that is that is direct investing, and that is on the other side as well co-investing. And this, let's say, very broad product spectrum bears now a 20-year-old track record through different business cycles, and is very diversified in terms of regions, in terms of currency, and in terms of sectors. When we look at what the assets we're managing for the moment 60 fund vehicles here in Luxembourg. 45 of them are fund of funds or co-investment products. 15 are SMAs, so segregated managed account solution for specific clients, and 10 investment advice mandates. I would say when we talk about the verticals, what is particular in Golding is that it started as a fund of fund story, but due to the track record of the 20 years fund of fund investing and the relationship that was built on this endeavor, and on the other side boots on the ground, for example in the US, really deep and long-lasting relationships developed, and that's why we get a lot of co-investment deal flows nowadays, which we equip our co-investment products with. And on the other side as well, the, let's say, quite in-depth expertise of our investment team on the direct investing side, and let's say huge international network, which puts more deal flow on that end as well, which makes us more, let's say, I would call it in short, from a fund of fund manager towards a leading European private market platform with breadth and depth.
Okay, that's very clear. Any specific deals you would like to highlight in this context?
Actually, I would say there is, on the deal side, we cannot go too much into detail, but we can, when we look at two angles, or from two angles, there is on the one side the investment side. When we look here, we are actually, like I said already, the big value add of the Golding platform is its broadness and the depth of the investment expertise that we do on different angles. So through that investment platform, we're processing around 100 investments per year, and deploy in that between 1 to 1.5 billion euros. on these monies go through, like I said already, through fund-of-fund vehicles, go through co-investment vehicles, or on a direct end. And on the other side, when we talk about deals, we can look as well on the client end. So deals that Golding is able to do for clients, because there we're pretty, let's say, client-centric as well, and we're processing, for example, legacy assets of clients that we take on into our vehicles or into new vehicles for the clients. We, as client service mandates, equip our funds with hedging features, for example, with bridging features, and so on and so forth. So being pretty, I would say, client need oriented. Yeah.
Sounds good. So full force, lots of products, and so really the let's say the personalization you would expect in this sophisticated industry. You briefly described your let's say setup before and your operational model. Could you give us more details concerning that one?
Absolutely. So let's start a little bit with the facts. So we have 200 employees at Golding. The head office is in Munich, with 80% of our colleagues working there or enjoying kind of flexible mobile working opportunities. The second biggest office is the Luxembourg office with 35 employees. So we have quite a bit of substance on the ground here. And then we have smaller offices in Milano, in Zurich, in London, and New York to support the sales and the investment functions preliminarily or primarily that way around. Looking a little bit on the investor side, so the investors are coming from the DACH region mainly. We have huge ambition to broaden the investor base on an international basis, so that's why we opened the offices. On the investment side, it's a bit more different actually. So from day one, we have been investing internationally or even globally with a focus on North America and Europe. Looking at a little bit on the value chain, so we are covering everything. We can be very fast when it comes to executing of investments due to our in-house setup with the Luxembourg entity. So processes are flowing smoothly between the entities. For example, looking at the investment process, we have two major quality gates. We have an investment advisor in Munich with an investment advisory committee. And the second quality gate is purely here in Luxembourg with an investment committee that finally does the investment decision. Furthermore, in Luxembourg, because we are on a Luxembourg show here, we are fully licensed IAFM, performing portfolio management, risk management, and compliance services for our funds and the company. We are a fully licensed fund administrator. We are supported a little bit by Munich staff here in Luxembourg, but we do everything in-house. And worth mentioning is that we have a valuation function here in Luxembourg with 3 dedicated specialists and a treasury function as well with, I think, 4 dedicated specialists working here on the ground.
We are always eager to hear that our full members have a very robust substance here in Luxembourg, that they have also new positions, new functions, and that's really bringing, again, lots of value to the entire ecosystem. Congratulations also for that.
Thank you.
I would also like to ask you, because the world has rapidly accelerated over the last 2 to 3 years. What has also happened within your group?
So there's a lot going on in the market and within our group. So if I may start with the market, I think there's a very interesting development around the retail sector on the client side. And the LTIF is a topic which can be a real win-win situation for the investors and for the asset managers. So for the investors, they can diversify better and they can potentially earn better returns, do better retirement saving in case there's a good access to the asset classes. For the asset managers, it's definitely it's more money, so it's a broader group of clients we can address. And this is the primary effect, and the secondary effect is, I think, these LTIF developments will force us to work differently when it comes to fund operations. So in our industry, we don't have a lot of experience with funds with 2,000 or 3,000 investors. And this will drive technology, this will drive efficiency, and this might change companies like Golding, even on the institutional side of the company. Let's take this as the switch to the company. So basically the last 2 years were kind of difficult looking at the market environment. So interest rates were rising, everything is said about that. And we decided to focus on the things we can really influence to strengthen the platform and to further develop the platform. So our minimum goal is to double our size in the next 5 years. Basically, there are 2 areas where we heavily invested. It's international sales with the 2 new offices in Italy and in Switzerland. I mentioned them before. And the other aspect is investment into the platform. So with a 200 person company, we have to work differently. We have grown fast in the last years. So we made strategic decisions to strengthen, for example, a resort for a COO. We hired that COO. We have been working hard on a data strategy, and we have way bigger IT budgets for the next years to prepare for the next phase of growth.
And another very important topic is ESG. Do you have a strategy, a policy there, and what are your ambitions in this field?
We take the topic of ESG and sustainability really serious. Through the investment in around 5,000 companies, we have really influence as well, and we try to leverage on that influence and push ESG and as well sustainability considerations through our investing. On the other side, as a company, as Golding, ESG and sustainability is at the heart of our brand, because we try to fulfill as well the responsibility towards our investors and put it into our everyday life on the one side, try to behave according to common code, to the vision, and on the other side put it into our investments. When I look at our vision, the vision itself is impact for generations, local, global and regional. So it covers different aspects, and because we truly believe that as well in investing, considering aspects around sustainability and ESG will bring in the end better risk-return profiles to our investments. And if we look at the DNA, the hard facts, like you said, like do you have a policy in place? We actually, since I would say it's in the DNA of Golding, we're UNPRI signatory since 2013. We're a follower of the TCFD. We developed in the past an ESG and an impact investing framework with, of course, policies on both ends for our products. But on the other side, on the company level, we introduced a impact task force, which is governing the company internal targets, like, for example, gender diversity. And we published this year, as the last point of that list, our first sustainability report. Since the SFDR got into play, where we, of course, categorized our funds, and new products that we're launching are at least Article 8 classified. We have one product which is a specific impact product, an impact fund of fund that is even classified as an Article 9. And I think that's one of the few impact fund of funds on the market. And with this, we invest globally. So we even put the characteristics of an Article 9 product towards investments that we're doing in the US.
This is very positive and promising. We have now X-rayed your firm, your setup, and also with your entity in Luxembourg, you are a connoisseur of the ecosystem. What do you think of our infrastructure here? Are we as business friendly as we were?
I would say as a fund and asset management hub, Luxembourg has what companies need to process business through the Luxembourgish platform. It has a stable and long-term rating. It has a nice ecosystem of system providers, service providers. It has actually since a few years a growing tech scene, which is super interesting. And it has talent on different levels. And coming back to the connoisseur, it has a nice restaurant landscape as well. But when I look a bit more critical on Luxembourg, I'm a bit concerned on first the topic of talent shortage, because I think that's a topic. As being an international hub, Luxembourg needs to work on and further attract talent from the neighboring countries, but from abroad as well, to support the growing sector, because our growth aspirations are huge, as Christian already mentioned, other firms as well, so we need that talent. And on the other side, I'm a bit concerned as well on the regulatory pressure that is put onto firms that comes from different ends and is actually seen in the headquarters of the companies and in the companies as a cost pressure factor, which in times of squeezing margins is always a discussion point, and which of course there are other destinations that might become more attractive on a, let's say, low regulatory cost perspective. And that's just, these are topics. I knew that there is a new government in play, and I hope that the new government sees and I'm pretty sure the new government sees the actions of the sector to be taken.
I can only concur with this analysis. I mean that talents are key specifically for further growth, and certainly also to have an as possibly, let's say, imaginable Luxembourg efficient and also business-friendly, open, agile as we would expect. Christian, you wanted to add also something?
Yeah, actually, I think and I'm pretty new here in Luxembourg and in my Luxembourg role, from the outside, I think if you know how to handle Luxembourg and what to do in Luxembourg, it works quite well. So you get your bank account. If you're not really used to the processes, to the regulations, to the unwritten laws, it can be quite difficult to get a bank account here. And I think this is something Luxembourg should be aware of, because for new entrants, I can imagine it's really difficult. And it was easier when we entered the Luxembourg markets. I think it was in 2010 with our first entity here and our first license. It was way easier than it is now to run such a company.
Yeah, so to have, let's say, the best intentions, but you also need then certainty and kind of guide in order to make that quickly possible. Yeah. Okay, good hint. Let's now become a little bit more personal, gentlemen. What did you study and where did you start your careers respectively?
I started actually, I studied finance and economics, and then went quite quickly into audit and advisory role. And from that on, actually my central theme was, or my fil rouge was actually asset management and private markets. And I started in audit, went to an investment firm, and then landed actually at Golding in my role today.
Well done.
Well, for me, it's quite similar. I studied banking and finance at a University of Cooperative Education in the south of Germany. Moved on to KPMG, started my career in audit for asset management actually. And almost 16 years ago, I joined Golding. And during my career in Golding, I did everything in finance, from fund accounting to over reporting, controlling, up to the role now in Luxembourg. Yeah.
That's what you would call a complete career, and a good start, the right package, and the right exposure to different segments of our favorite industries. Any advice you would like to give to new talents who would really like to work with us in the future?
So if I may start, Lukas, so I would recommend everybody to specialize, but not to over-specialize. So when I look left and right and look at myself, It's important to have something like a primary skill, it can be finance, and to have something like a secondary skill, which can be computer programming or public speaking or something else, something complementary. And this is a turbo, or can be a turbo for your career, as opposed to your peers or competitors on the career path, focusing just on one little niche.
And for me, what I would give to actually people new in their career is to be like a sponge, to ingest all information you can get, to be hungry, to digest the information, and then to use it and process.
Any specific leader or person who motivated you during your career and inspired you?
Actually, on my way, I cannot say that there is the one specific person, but I would say there were just many pieces and parts that put together a nice puzzle, and which gave me motivation, and which brought me actually where I am now.
So it's quite similar. So my first answer would be Lukas inspires me sometimes
That's
every
nice.
day with new ideas.
Thank you.
But no kidding. There are important persons on a path. Looking back, maybe into my past a little bit. So I used to be a member of the German national mountain bike team, and I had a coach, and he really influenced me for my professional career as well. So he was a great writer of exercising plans. But he was also a coach on how to deal with adverse situations, with bad weather outside or bad tires or whatever you might have in a bike race, and to turn it around in an opportunity in your head. And this is something which still helps me 20 years later or 25 years later.
Great lessons for life. And any book, podcast, series you would like to share with our audience?
So I have to laugh a little bit again. I have 3 little kids at home, and I literally don't read, and I should read, but I'm so busy when I'm at home. If I think about it, there is one good book, actually a recommendation by Jeremy Golding, our founder. It's called Mindset, and it deals again with your brain and how you could act or should act in different situations to grow yourself and to grow your company.
And I would say on the podcast side, there's the Joe Rogan show, which is pretty interesting. It's discussions with, let's say, interesting person from science to business towards just as well media. And on the book recommendation, I actually got a recommendation on a weekend trip to Oslo last weekend. There's actually Choice from Edith Eger. And actually she's a concentration camp survivor, and she writes a story on choices you have in life. So don't put your head into the sand, don't get into a victim situation, but turn it more to the positive, and use challenges to grow.
Good, gentlemen, thanks a lot for sharing all your insights, these recommendations. So with the right mindset, we might take then the best choices. Again, it was a pleasure to welcome you today and to see you very soon again.
It's been our pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you very much.